Here we are back again, letting everybody in. Hi. Hi, Teresa and Laura and Lonnie.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Rick, Lupe, Laura, Olivia,
Yeah. Mhm.
Evelyn. Okay. This is a place to be, apparently. Hey, Carl. Nice to see you.
You too.
All right. We got Miguel coming in the room. So as people are coming in, from last month. So this is the 12-part series with Cortland Warren. And hold on
Did
one.
you hear it?
Okay, this is our 12-month series with Cortland Warren. Um, I think one of the things that we all do is that we overestimate what we can accomplish in a short amount of time, the short run, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in the long run. We're always thinking now, like close the deal, get it done. I want to make this much this year right now. And I think that sometimes that doesn't serve us because we fail to kind of look at the long haul when we have the downturns, instead of giving up or changing directions, like, okay, this is part of the process when we're going to get to point B. So I wanted to ask you guys from the last session with Cortland, any takeaways, any ahas, anything that you found really interesting or that really hit home? Feel free to unmute yourself. Anybody? Okay. Well, I'll tell you mine. I think one thing he was very like he started off with was just that concept of reciprocity. And to me, that meant like slowing down and acknowledging and reciprocating. Um, if you're running teams, if you're working with other agents, even with your clients, or even at home, a lot of the times we're just so busy doing all the things, but we don't stop, to say, okay, how can I reciprocate a little bit here because of that gesture, because of that contribution that that person made, or whatnot. So it's a little bit different than recognition. I think it's more kind of for me. It kind of goes into being a little bit more truly thoughtful. Thoughtful of the interactions that we have with individuals and aware of what speed are we working on, or what speed are we on, where sometimes we're running so fast that we're not smelling the flowers. And by smelling the flowers, I mean taking the time to reciprocate, with the people that are impacting us. So anyhow, anything, anybody else have something that really hit home, whether it was the first session of the year or it was something that he said initially in our final quarter? Ready for you to volunteer before I voluntold you. All right, I'm going to do a voluntold. I'm going to voluntold Lupe Estrada.
Great. Um, no, a lot of what I'm trying to look for my notes from last month, but yeah, a lot of what he said was no on what I got from it was just taking accountability for what needs to happen, not letting not letting me use external factors as reasons why. So, that's it.
Okay. All right. That's good. Anybody else? Lonnie, what about you?
Sorry, I had someone at my door.
No problem.
What was the question?
Any takeaways from the series that we've had here with Cortland?
Yeah, I love the 25 questions he asked us. I've been trying to find my list because they were so good, but I do remember like one of the first things he said was to be not be an influencer, but be influential.
Mhm.
And that's just really stuck with me in my posting and think my plans for this year.
Yeah, that was really good when we went through those questions. I mean, I hope that I'm going to ask to see if we can kind of recap on those questions. I don't know if what he has lined up for today, but I think that would be super helpful just to kind of go back through that and recap and recalibrate the brain. I think that the time goes by really quickly. You know, one month. I think it's just enough time for you to kind of absorb and integrate, but it also, if you're not doing the homework, you know, you're going to forget, you know, some of the things that we talked about. So yes, okay. Anybody else? Any takeaways from any of the sessions that we've had with Cortland? No? All right. So we're going to jump in just in a minute here. Cortland, as you guys know, there's a program, Success Coaching has a certification program, and Cortland is spearheading that. It's a weekly certification on how to become a coach. I believe the fee is $5,000 or $6,000 to be able to be part of that program and be success certified. And I believe there's different levels. I'm sharing that with you because we get Cortland, or us here, we get Cortland for free. So he's on here once a month and he's coaching us. I know that there's a little bit of overlap because I did sign up for that certification just because I want to make sure that I'm absorbing everything. Plus, I know that Glenn Sanford is also has committed to be part of that coaching process. So if you haven't checked that out, I don't think it's too late. I think you could still sign up, and I think it's a year-long program. So I know he's going to run a little bit late, so I'm going to share a couple of things that I think you may or may not know. One is Cabo. How many of you guys have signed up for Cabo? Awesome. How about Fast Cap or Fast Attract? Now, hands up, hands up. Let me tell you guys something that's really cool about Fast Cap and Fast Attract, okay? One thing that I just learned is that if you're signed up for Fast Cap, which is, and you're going to want to know this because it's about getting more business. If you are signed up now for Fast Cap attendees now have access to realty.com leads. So as long as you're in the program, as long as you're signed up and you're in the Fast Cap 6-week production program, you are going to have access to realty.com leads. And these leads, from what I understand, they're already warm. They've been vetted. They've got their ISAs behind the scenes. And so guys, like, this is a really big opportunity, right? If you're looking for more production and you don't have a budget for leads, then the Fast Cap is like a free program. So that's one thing. The other thing is Fast Attract. And with Fast Attract, that's also 6 weeks. It started last week. Somebody just signed up on Sunday, so I think you could still sign up. Fast Attract is a 6-week program for attraction. So if you're interested in growing your group, and anybody that's in my group, I've got a contest going. We did a contest. We had 3 winners for our last contest. And those 3 winners were awarded a ticket to Cabo. It was based on participation, completion, and then also what your numbers were. And I've got to tell you guys that you might think that, well, I don't know if I qualify. I don't know if I would actually make it. But I'm telling you that everybody gets really busy. And so the opportunity for you to actually get to Cabo and get a free ticket to the Cabo event is there. So I'm in that session again. I just use it as a framework for me to like keep listening to the things that are working. And then I make my calls, I make my messages, I send out my contacts during that time. So if you haven't signed up for Fast Attract and you want to learn how to go about really creating that other stream of income with the revenue share with I call it the partnership program with EXP, where if you decide to partner with EXP and you decide to grow and help bring people to the company, they partner with you in their growth. So I think that's really exciting. All right. So those are some of the updates. That's some of the news. There's more things that are coming. I'm going to share with you next month. We're doing a leadership conference in San Antonio next week. I'll be there and I get to hear all the news before everybody else does. So I'll make sure to communicate that to you guys, what I'm able to. All right. So we got the guy in the jean jacket.
What you think about that? What you think about that? What you think about that?
I like that. I like
Okay, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I wear suits all the time. You know what I mean? I wear suits
know.
all the time. I'm like, you know what I mean? You know?
I feel like we should have, I don't know, I think you could totally rock a cowboy hat though.
I can do a cowboy hat. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I got them
Yeah.
too. And boots. And boots.
I could see it. I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that. I got that. So so you've given the news, you've given the updates, and
Yes,
we're ready? Okay. All right. Well, so we started out last month. Dang, these months go fast, don't they, Rebecca?
Right?
They go fast, right? So we started out last month basically taking an inventory to look at what actually leads to like personal magnetism. Okay, now because we have this extended time that we're working together, okay, I am able to be a little more deliberate in how we build it. Okay, so it's like brick by brick, all right, brick by brick. So let's go to Rebecca because your face is showing. All right. So Rebecca, when you think about your life in real estate, okay, your life in real estate, give me an idea or a sense of what was going on for you before you started. Like, not even why you said yes to the industry, but like what was going on for you before you even said yes to the industry.
That seems like 1,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Good. That
I
means we're in the right spot.
I literally got out of college and went into the mortgage industry and then went right into real estate. So real estate's really been all that I've known. So
out of college, did you
Mhm.
have, so when you got out of college, did you have like clarity around what you were about to do? Did you know that it was going to be real estate coming out of college? Like, was it like, okay, I'm out of college, I need to, make money? Like, what was going on?
So out of college, I was going to go and get an internship so that I could learn how to trade at the Wall Street.
Really? I used to
And
trade. I used to work on the trading desk.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's what
okay,
I was
okay.
in the process of learning how to do. And my husband and I were newlyweds, needed money, and so we knew that going into this internship was going to be free work, and I wasn't going to
Hmm.
make anything. And so I went into mortgages so that we could actually start paying the bills.
Okay. So, newly married. Okay, it's going to be free work. Okay, and I'm just shorthanding here, like pay the bills. Excellent. We'll see where this is going here in just a second. Okay, let's go to Brent. Same question. So, how I run? So same question. Like, what was going on? Like, what was happening? What was, not the reason why you said yes, but give us an idea of what was going on in your world when you said yes to real estate.
So I was driving a truck. I had a failed trucking business.
Okay, like 18-wheeler type truck or what type of like?
Yeah, I owned
Okay.
6 trucks.
Okay, driving a
And
truck. Okay.
I had a failing business and I hated my life. And
Uh-huh.
so I got my real estate license. And then I drove truck at 1 a.m. till about 8 or 9 a.m.
Uh-huh.
as fast as I can get my job done. Then I'd go knock doors so I can get out of debt.
Got you. Okay. 1 a.m. to 8 or 9 a.m. Okay. Knock doors. Okay. Get out. Or to get out of debt. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for that. All right, all right. Let's go to who I saw somebody else's face a second ago. Who was that? Let's go to the mortgage master. The mortgage, the mortgage master. So, what was going on in your life? What was going on in your life? What was going on in your world? Just paint a picture for us of what you saw and what was happening when you said yes to real estate.
Oh, I've been doing it my whole adult life. I was
What was going on
21.
before your adult life? Just as you entered into your adult life, then. Okay, what was happening?
I was 21 years old.
Yep.
I was engaged. I was a manager at a fiber optics company. And then I saw a friend that honestly I thought was an idiot.
Yeah.
And he was a mortgage banker, well, trying to become one. And I just thought, you know what? I can speak well. I'm educated. I'm hungry. So I quit my job that next morning.
Mm.
And I actually called Rosie. And
Oh, yeah?
she didn't answer the phone the first few times, but then I kind of was convincing, and I met with her and her husband, and then I met with their sales manager, and he tried to ask me a bunch of questions and said, hey, you know, he gave me a comb actually and said, sell me this comb. And we got the same hairdresser, brother. So
Okay.
I basically said, instead of that, let me ask you a question. Are you comfortable in your chair? And he said, yeah, why? And I said, well, don't teach me too much because I'm going to take your job.
Oh.
And I've been doing this ever since.
And you've been doing it ever since.
Ever since, brother.
I like it.
Yeah.
Great job. Great. That's good. That's good. All right. So let's go to Lupe. Same question. What was happening? What was going on in your world? What was going on in the world, your world, when you said, all right, I'm going to, and I know for some of us, we got to go back a little ways, but what was going on when you said, all right, I'm going to do this like real estate thing, this real estate, you know, I'm going to fall into this industry. What was going on?
So yeah, it's been a while. However,
Yeah.
when I first decided to, jump on board on real estate, I was working at Rockwell Telecommunications. I worked
Okay.
in a fab, which is basically a clean room where you wear this, this white coverall. With
Oh
an
yeah, like the little white hazmat suit.
yeah.
Okay.
That, and what I was doing was I would watch a machine, burn chemicals for about 12 hours a day. They were 12-hour shifts. And I was there to, make sure if anything happened, if there's ever error on these machines, I was there for that. There was never any errors on these machines.
Okay.
I would, I literally sit there. I couldn't do anything. You can't take anything in because it's a clean room. So you're just, you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs for 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. So
And nothing would ever be wrong with the machines.
nothing, ever. I didn't know I was there. However, we Rosie and I just got married at the time, and we just bought our first house, and it was a job. It was a good job. And I always wanted to invest in real estate.
Okay.
So when Rosie graduated, she went to work for a mortgage company, went to work for a broker, and she just started getting busy. And she goes, hey, look what I'm doing. Do you want to help me out? Can we get something, something going there? I said, sure. And started as Rosie's assistant. Actually. And from there moved into real estate primarily to get more involved in investing in property. So yeah, so then at that point I said, let's do this. And this is when the market, rates were at like an 8%, 8.5%.
Okay.
However, they were getting better, and the market just started picking up.
Okay.
Right? So,
Okay.
started getting busier. Her and I started working together, and started opening companies from there.
And as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
And the rest is history. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Rosie, your turn. I'm just taking the people that I see highlight with their cameras on. That's how I'm doing this. So Rosie, your turn. Give us a sense, like, what was happening? What was going on? We just got a little bit of insight. You just graduated, but what was going on in your mind, your life, your world? What was happening?
So when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do when I graduated, I interviewed with a couple of different corporations, and just felt like whatever I did was going to be a job. And I always had an interest in understanding how real estate worked. So I reached out to the person who helped us buy our first home, and he said, "You're hired," and then he never called me back. And so I looked at the paper, and I went and I applied, and I found a job at a mortgage company.
Okay.
And then I got my first check. I worked really hard because I knew the top producer. Her name was Tammy. Last name Tammy. I forget her last name. And so I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna do what she's doing. And she just called people, and they said, here's a list of people, call them, get the applications, and then this is how we do loans. And so at the end of the first month, he called me into the office and said, okay, well, how do you think you did? And yeah, I did not think I did very well. And I said, well, I could have done better. I know this, and that. And so it turns out in the first month, I was a top producer. And I beat Tammy. So, anyhow, that month I got my first check, and it was like over $5,000. That was a whole lot of money for me. And it was like 4 deals that I closed. And I just really wanted to learn and understand how real estate worked. And I had a vision and an idea that I wanted to one day invest in properties. So figured that that was the right place for me to be, to learn how to do that.
To learn how to do it. Excellent. All right, let's see. That's I got one more face. I'll go. All right, can you talk and drive, Sherry? You don't have to look at the camera.
I was like, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but don't look at me.
Okay, hello.
Stop looking at me. Just look at the road.
I'm driving and focused.
Yes. Okay. So what was going on for you when you said yes to real estate? And do not look over here.
Oh my gosh. I was, it was 1996. I was 26 years old. I had gotten a business degree that I was sort of forced to get from my dad, my parents were entrepreneurs. They had a commercial printing company that they started with $500. Neither of them went to college. They had about 300 employees. And I got that degree. I came back. I worked for him. He had an opportunity to sell the company, so he did, which was awesome for him and for everybody. But I owned a very, very little piece of it, very little. And I had dated the guy who built my parents' house. I dated his son for like 2 years. And he used to say, get your real estate license, kid. And I was like, I'm in a family business. Like, that's never happening. And then lo and behold, my mother said to me, get it. You never know. Have it in your portfolio. And, like you said, the rest is history. I had a condo payment, a car payment, and a really high shopping habit. I was 26, single, no kids, and I would have called myself a really crazy workaholic. I just thought if I worked more hours, I'd make more money. And I also had to prove my dad wrong, because he said, you may not sell a house for 6 months. You might want to get another job. And I said, it takes me 6 months to sell one house. Like, this is an epic failure. So I had 5 sales my very first month, which 4 of them came from my first listing that I held open, and I sold 4 houses off of that one listing. It was like $139,000 house. It was not very big, but I got it on floor time. And one person, the 5th sale, came from out of my sphere. And so that's what was happening. I literally had fear of failure. I had to make money fast, and I was like, it's do or die. So I just threw it all in, and I think I sold 27 houses my first year. That was in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
I think I made 50 grand. I made $59,000, I think. Kind of a fun story to tell. But yeah, that's what was happening when I got my license. And interest rates, it was like 7.5%. And I knew in that year, during that time, I had been a management consultant already for a while, and I knew that I wanted to have a national speaking, coaching, and consulting company one day in that first year of real estate. And so in 1997, I said, I'm going to do that one day. And I did. So I started 9 years ago. Yeah. National real estate coaching, 7-figure coaching company out of thin air. And
Again,
it's kind of a fun story. And then I joined DXP.
And then you joined
the next best chapter.
Nice. Okay. Thank you very much. Sherry. I appreciate you. All right. So what are we doing here? Well, first of all, you've heard me say before that you will never act consistently in any way that is inconsistent with your self-image. Okay. And we started looking at, how to be personal magnetism. We did a personal, magnetism inventory. And we start to build now an identity that fits the results that you desire to have. So if you're going to be more magnetic, what that means is that you are displaying the ability to impact people. Okay. And so when it comes to impacting people, what is perhaps the number one, and there could be debate on what's number one, okay? But I'm thinking of a number one, so I'm going to ask you to read my mind. How about that, okay? So what is the number one skill that you want to possess when it comes to impacting, influencing, inspiring people, okay? What's the number one skill that you want to possess when it comes to impacting, inspiring, leading people? Type it in the chat. What are you going to need? Communication. Thank you, Rebecca. Keep going. Communication. Yes, but it's specific. Rick Graham says problem solving. Keep going. I got communication. I got problem solving. Christy says likability. Rosie says listening skills. Deborah says influence, trust. Keep going. You got to be able to do this. You got to be able to do this in a very profound way. Adapt knowledge to each situation. Keep going. Connect with people. Have a service mindset. Believe in yourself. Yes. Okay. And let's say we're connecting with people. Connection. We see that one again. Okay. Consistency. Add massive value, says Sherry. But when we come to, we're going to move people, right? We're going to move people. We want to win them to our way of thinking. We want to get them to do what we want them to do, but we want them to do it for their reason, okay? Trust, authenticity, influence, being a catalyst. Yes, keep going. We're dancing all around it. It's even more simple than any of that. Keep going. Whoa, I don't give answers away. So we may be going past the top of the hour if we don't hurry up. Lead, show up, be inspiring. Who's that? Is it Bricia? Okay. Sell, yes. Effective communication, yes. You got to care, yes. Action, inspire, yes. So what's a skill? Clarity says, Brent, so what's a skill that enables us to connect, inspire, and improve communication, like all in one? It's like when done effectively, it encompasses all of those things when done. The ability to speak, yes, but the most effective, most influential, most impactful speakers When done the right way, it has confidence, there's energy, there's trust, there's authenticity, there's connection, there's encouragement. It's wrapped all in one. All of those things are wrapped in there. Mindset. Yes, this is the mindset kind of mastermind. It inspires. Yes. Okay. Empathy. It has empathy is included. Yes. Who brings the energy, look your best, bring some knowledge, have integrity. Yes, all of these things are true. And there's one skill. There's one skill that when done effectively, it encompasses all of these things. It encompasses all of the things. Are we tired of guessing? Are we tired? What if, your next, I don't know. Let's say that the next level in your business relied on your ability to get this answer or to keep answers in the chat until we land on it. There we go. Show up, care, scale, presence, consistency. I'm trying to imagine the people that are just listening, without your videos on, it's like listening in the background. I'm sure you're like, my God, would he just give us the answer already? No. Consistency, presence, take a chance, include. It it has some elements of inclusion in it. Emotional intelligence for sure, when done effectively. Yes. Show up. Yes. Collaboration. Yes. All those things. Everything that you're saying right now is accurate. Everything that you're saying is accurate. This particular word, though, I thought I was about to get it. This particular word, it also involves some social awareness. Definitely, Carl, definitely involves some influence. It starts with an S and it ends with Ori. It starts with an S and it ends with Ori. That's all I can give you. But I can't give you the, oh my goodness, thank you, Christy. Jeez. Whew. My goodness. The ability to tell stories is quietly one of the most powerful and effective skills for influence, for impact, and for causing people to move. Your ability to tell stories. One of the ones that you want to have ready, okay, because it has shaped your identity today in the business of real estate, is your origin story. What was going on for you when you started? What was going on for you when you began? And in my view, the story of how you started is not one that you want to distance yourself from. You want to be connected to what it was like when you began. Why? Because it enables you to connect. It enables you to connect with new people. It allows you to stay grounded in the work that's required. And it actually allows you to skip some steps with people when it comes to building trust, right? Getting their buy-in in the process and the system, because they know what it was like for you when you started. At this point, Rosie, Brent, Lupe, right? At this point, it's more likely that when you're talking to, new people, it's more likely that they see you as someone they can't be than it is that they see you as someone they can be. Because you're extraordinarily successful. You're so far, at least in their, as they view it, you're so far ahead of where they would be starting from that it becomes difficult to connect with what it's like to be you or to even get your results. Is this making sense? And so it's like, I'm not going to tell you, Lupe, I'm not going to tell you that I don't believe I can be like you. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to ghost you and not show up. And eventually you'll stop calling. I'm not going to tell you, Brent. I'm just not going to do it because I still got my ego. Okay? So I'm not going to tell you that I don't believe that I have enough years left to get to where you are. I mean, you started when you were, we didn't get the age here, but, just out of college or no, just early 20s, and you got a failing, got a driving a truck, you got a failing trucking business, you hate your life, and what? You were going from 1 a.m. to 8 or 9 a.m. on your trucking job, and then you went to knock door. Like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you that I don't believe that I have that kind of time to do it. I'm just going to not show up. I'm just going to leave you wondering why I'm like, not responding or whatever, okay? But my ego will not allow me to tell you that I don't believe that I have that amount of time left or I have that kind of, commitment or, actually, I don't know this part yet. I'm just looking at, man, Brent is successful. He's winning in the business. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you that I don't believe that I have what that takes. Is this making sense, Rebecca? Okay. I'm not going to do that. All right. So the more successful you are, the more successful we become, it's even more important and valuable to be connected to how we started, where we started from, because it is actually your beginning that connects with people who are just beginning with EXP. It's your beginnings that connect with people. Oftentimes we're selling where we are now and we're selling the possibility. But when a person is making the decision to say yes to, EXP, it's actually more valuable to connect on what your beginning was. Because then they can say, well, if you've created that, starting from there, like, well, I'm not starting in that spot, so I'm actually ahead of where you were when you started. Making sense? Okay. I'm actually ahead of where you were when you started. So now I feel a greater sense of like possibility and, I'm more hopeful that I can get the results that you're speaking of. Okay. Now, how do we know this to be true? Well, there's a company. You may have heard of them. They call it Disney. Ever heard of them? Okay. This company, Disney, and particularly Pixar, they have made, I need to get the exact number, okay, but billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars telling stories. And what is oftentimes missed is they tell every story the same way. Think of it. Finding Nemo, the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, Toy Story, Soul, Happy Feet. If you've watched a Disney movie, the framework is the same every time because they understand that stories sell. Okay? So, every Disney story starts with where I asked you to go today, which is Once Upon a Time. Every story. Every story. Once upon a time, there was a fish named Nemo. Nemo, every day, Nemo swam around in his little fishbowl. Once upon a time, there was a fish named Nemo. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a truck driver who would drive trucks from 1 a.m. to 8 or 9 a.m. for his failing trucking business. Once upon a time, there was a man who for 12 hours a day wore a hazmat suit and watched machines burn chemicals when the machines never did. Once upon a time, there was a man who wore a hazmat suit for 12 hours a day watching a machine burn chemicals. Get the idea? Once upon a time, there was a lady who graduated college but always wanted to know how real estate and real estate investing worked. Once upon a time, there was a 26-year-old woman with a business degree working for her dad's printing business. Once upon a time, there was a 21-year-old. Who was this? The 21. Oh, that was my friend was my mortgage master. Okay, yeah. Once upon a time, there's a guy who saw his idiot friend making money in mortgages. Okay, get the idea? All right. So once upon a time, all right. Once upon a time, there was a woman who was newly married, and the work she was about to do was going to be free work, which didn't work because she needed to pay the bills. Okay, because she needed to pay the bills. Every story starts with once upon a time. Okay, now this makes sense for what we're building when it comes to identity. Okay, so once upon a time actually opens a loop in your subconscious so that when you start with, or when the story starts with once upon a time, well, naturally people want to hear how it ends or what happened. If I just said, once upon a time, there was a man who wore a hazmat suit for 12 hours a day watching a machine burn chemicals. And I leave it right there. I assure you that your mind wants to know, and like what happened? What happened? So as a person of influence and impact, you want to create open loops in the minds of people. Okay? Now we'll get to more on how you do this more tactically down the road. However, I want your homework is to draft your story. Okay? So every Disney, Pixar starts this way. Okay? Once upon a time. Every day. Okay? Until one day. Because of that, my spelling's a little off today. For those of you who are listening and driving or not video, I'm just writing some things on the board. I'll cover it in just a second. Okay. Here you have, for those who like to complicate things, here you have Disney Pixar's formula for billions and billions and billions of dollars. For those who like to complicate things and swear that things have to be complicated and difficult, okay, here's what Disney has done to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. Every story within the Disney framework starts with once upon a time. It then moves to every day. Then there's an epiphany. There's something that happens. Something just like clicks. It registers. That's the until one day. Okay? Because of that epiphany, because of that discovery, what did they go out and do? And because of that, what happened? Until finally, okay, and ever since then. What we said today was, well, and the rest is history. If we take every story, okay, even without you knowing where we were going, okay, even without you knowing where we were going, with every example that we just heard, you all applied the Disney framework. Once upon a time, I was owner of a failing trucking business. Every day, I would, drive trucks from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Okay? Until one day I realized that this is not going to work. And so I had to do something else. And for me, that was going to be real estate. Because of that, I kept driving from 1 a.m. until 8 or 9 a.m. But then I started knocking on doors at 9 a.m. Because of that, I started to, make sales. My business started to grow until finally I was out of the trucking business. I created financial liberty and so forth in my life. And I was able to care for my family. And ever since then, I've never looked back. I'm filling in the blanks there because you didn't go all the way to that. Okay. But we can see how this unfolds, right? So, once upon a time, I would get dressed in my white hazmat suit and I would go into work. And every day I would watch machines burn chemicals for 12 hours until one day my wife came to me and says, hey, look at what I'm doing. Look at how much money I'm making, blah, blah, blah. Because of that, I decided to go and be her assistant initially. Because of that, I started to, get an understanding of the mortgage and real estate business and create, more money than I was making, blah, 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 right? Until finally, we started building and investing in real estate and in other businesses. And ever since then, we could ... fill in the blank. Okay? We could do this with every one of you who shared. Why? Because story is embedded in all of us and how we learn. So oftentimes what happens is we go to process and systems too soon. if you want people to adopt your process and system, tell it in the form of a story. Tell your process in the form of a story, and you'll get people more engaged, greater buy-in, and you'll find your communication is more what I call sticky, right? It's just like they just cling to it. They just cling to it. Okay, so I'm often asked, like, I tell the story a lot. I say once upon a, I don't say once upon a time. Man, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. I was a kid growing up in Southeast Oklahoma, Idabel, Oklahoma, to be exact. Idabel, Oklahoma is the type of town where the railroad tracks divide the city east and west, but also it divides the city black and white. So growing up, all the black people lived on one side of the tracks, the west side. All the white people lived on the other side of the tracks, the east side. So to me, growing up, it felt like that in life, there are the haves and the have-nots. We were in the have-not line. What I wanted to figure out is, how do you change lines? Because everything that was good was happening on the other side of the tracks. I wanted to figure out how you change lines. And so I endeavored to ask, to figure it out. But I found that it was like no one else was even asking the question. I would ask my mom, and she would say things like, well, all we need is love. But I wanted love and some stuff. And no one else seemed to know how to do it. They said, go to college. They work hard in school, get your degree, go to college, get a good job. I did that. I got laid off. But I remembered that my dad gave me a milk crate of books. And in that milk crate, there were titles. And I go through some of the titles, like Think and Grow Rich, and How to Win Friends and Influence People, and The Power of Positive Thinking, and As a Man Thinketh. And so I would read those books. And when I read those books, I got information that it was unlike anything I had ever heard. It wasn't taught in school. And I hadn't found it anywhere else except in these books. And it resonated with me. I had never thought that what I think about, I become. So I started reading the books. And then my mom found me with this crate of books. I was a sophomore in high school. My mom sees me with the crate of books, and she asked me, where did those books come from? I told her that my dad had gave them to me. She forced me to get them out. She wanted nothing in the house to do with him. So I took the books to my grandmother's house. I put them behind her house. I covered them with a tarp. And one by one, I would go and get a book. And those became my book reports in high school. That's one by one, I would read. I read every book that was in that milk crate, every single one of them. And it reshaped how I understood you could change your life by changing what you think. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with people how they could change their life also by changing what they think and changing what they believe. But I couldn't explain to anyone like what I meant. There was no one else in my environment who was doing this. And I couldn't let my mom know that I had this idea because I was supposed to have gotten rid of the books. So I denied myself and my true calling because I was not confident that I could explain it, and I was fearful of my mom's reaction. So I put that dream aside, and I started to do what they had said do. Get a good job, And so I find myself working for an oil and gas company. And one day I go in, there's an all-employee meeting. They're laying us off. I had an 8 weeks severance. At about 6 weeks, I had spent all of it. I was standing in the employment line of so I could fill out the paperwork so that I could get my employment check the following week, because I was already at a place where I needed those checks to come together so I could make rent. And while I'm standing there in that line one day, as I'm standing there in that line, it dawns on me that this was never what I wanted anyway, and that if I was going to fail, I may as well fail at doing something that I wanted to be doing. And because of that, I started reading personal development books again. And I decided that I was going to build a career and a life out of facilitating and speaking. And I was going to travel the country and around the world, and I was going to impact people this way. Because of that, I interviewed for a position, facilitate, public speak, You get the idea, right? And until finally, my life today looks like this is all I do. I was 10 minutes late to our meeting today because I was finishing up, a training. For matter of fact, in that crate of books, there were old issues of Success Magazine. I said to myself on the first day I got that crate of books from my dad, and I saw Success Magazine. I didn't even know that there was a thing called Success Magazine, but on that day in 1993, I said to myself, one day I am going to be in that magazine. That happened. Late today to this, because I am spearheading the coaching program for all of Success and Success Magazine. When I made that declaration, there was no evidence, no proof, no reasonable room to believe that that was even possible.
And to add to that,
And ever since then, you get the idea? Okay. So, sorry, Rose. So, everything that you're doing, okay, you're always telling a story. So, if you want to be more magnetic, then improve your storytelling. So, when it comes to processes and systems, sharing your process, the system, the plan in the form of a story makes it more sticky psychologically to the person or people that you're looking to influence. So your homework is to draft your origin story using this framework. We got a lot of the once upon a times and some of the everydays. What was the epiphany? What was the moment? Where did it click? Okay. And when it clicked, what did you start to do? And because of that, what started to happen? What's the result that you now see? And what is for you your happily ever after? If you're not in your happily ever after just yet, then what do you desire it to be? Okay? Because the more emotionally connected you are to this outcome, then the faster it will manifest. Yes, Rosie. I was afraid I would lose my place if I stopped.
no, thank you. Thank you so much, because that brought it all the way full circle. So first of all, Colin, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much. Just being respectful of everyone. Thank you for being here. It's the 12-month series. And like I shared in the beginning of the call, we have the privilege and the honor, the privilege, and this incredible opportunity to be coached by Cortland Warren, the Cortland Warren, 8 pages in Success Magazine, like not just one, Cortland, that's what I was going to say. And I know you're spearheading the coaching program over at Success. I kind of gave people information about that already. But just super, I love the way that you communicated the concept of the story, how simple it is and how much we complicate. How do I say, how do I tell? But in everybody's career, there's a starting point, and throughout their career, there are points where we're going back to that one time when, and it was like this. And I think one of the things that I picked up on from the very beginning, Cortland, is I love, love, love that you shared that sometimes our stories, if we speak from the now, we're going to lose a lot of people that don't understand like where we started. And in addition to that, I found that just meeting different people who are just amazing and incredible, which I know we're not supposed to do, kind of put people on a pedestal because then, you know,
Mhm.
they're up there and you're down here.
Mhm.
And then when you get to know them, you realize that, wow, they're just normal people.
Yes.
And,
Mhm.
you know, they had the same struggles and they, you know, they put one foot in front of the other and then they got here and they're still on their journey. And so, um,
It
thank you.
humanizes them.
Yes.
It
Yes.
humanizes.
Yes.
And when they're humanized or when you are humanized, then I see it more realistic
Hmm.
that I can do it. And if you're about like agent attraction, they've got to be able to see the whole premise here today is like if you're about building an agent attraction and so forth, the people have to be able to look at you and say that I see myself in her. If I can't see myself, if you're so elevated that it's like, and I find this when it comes to speaking, there are places where I have to incorporate certain like rough edges because if it's too polished, then people will look at it and will be like, oh man, I could never do that. I could never. And I don't want people mesmerized. I want them transformed. So for you, you don't want people to be so taken by the success that you've created. You want them to look at what you've done and say, if she can do it, I can do it. Or if he can do it, I can do it. You don't want to be so like elevated that you're untouchable. Not if you want to build. Okay,
Yeah.
you know, there are times when you want that, but for a different purpose. My understanding is you're here because you want to grow, build your business, develop people, attract people. So that's a different come from. Okay,
Yes.
and don't get so elevated that you forget what the beginning was like, because I don't care how successful they were somewhere else, they're at the beginning of EXP. And
Yes.
so we use some examples today, but if you'll do that, you'll attract people, and they'll recognize that their starting place is perhaps beyond where your starting place was, and they see it as more possible. They stick in your organization. They go out and create success. Right? I think you said her name was Nancy, the lady, Debbie. When you first started,
Yeah.
and you didn't, maybe you knew she was the top earner in the producer, I don't know, but oh, this lady does this, she does this. It was simplified. She makes calls. I watch what she does. She's not inhuman. She's not like a robot. She does this, I'm going to do that. And then at the end of that first month, you were top producer even more than she was,
Hmm.
because what you saw her doing was human. She wasn't so removed from it that like sometimes we can get to a level of success that people don't even see what you do. You know, this guy is willing to go knock doors at 9, 10 a.m. after working from 1 to 8. But I have just slept all day and won't go knock doors.
Right.
Okay, well, I got more time than he had back then. So what's actually my reason or excuse? And what happens is people become they process themselves. They become convicted. And then it's like, okay, listen, if he can do that, if she can do that, if this guy can be watching a flipping machine burn chemicals for 12 hours a day and nothing ever happened to the machine, like in my mind as he's telling that, I'm like, that's torture. That would be 12 hours. That's torture. Okay, I don't have to do that. I'm starting from a different place. So you're going to be more magnetic. I know we got to go. You're going to be more magnetic if you don't disconnect from your beginning. That's it.
I love it. I love it. If you could move aside a little bit, I'm going to recap this in a fun way. And I want to invite everybody. Our homework is to practice with this, and you can have different points in your history where you can share this, but
Yes.
I'll share mine. Once upon a time, I attended this workshop, and I met this gentleman who was standing up there, kind of like an interesting character. And after a few minutes, I realized he had value, and since that workshop, things have changed. And so every now and again, I'd send him messages and say, "Hey, friend, I think I'd love to connect. Let's have coffee next time you're here. I'd love to brainstorm a little bit." Until one day, we actually sat in the coffee house and we were talking about different ideas, and he shared his ideas of how he was going to brand himself and this vision of what was beyond the workshops and what was in his future. And because of that, we kept in communication. And because of that, we became friends, not just coach relationship, until finally we got to be connected in this EXP space. And ever since then,
so good.
We connect, and we've developed this beautiful friendship. So thank you, Cortland.
That's so good. You see what I'm saying? That's so good. That's so good. Like off the cuff, right?
Yeah.
Simple. Disney has made billions and billions of dollars like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So anyway, all right. People got to go.
Thank you.
I love you to death, Rosie.
See you.
Okay.
March 3rd is the next session. March 3rd. We'll see you
I'll
guys
be
on
here.
Tuesday, March 3rd, 10 a.m. PST, 1 EST. Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Thank you,
Thank you.
Carla.
Somebody's asking if they're getting the recording in the chat. Okay.
The
All right.
recording
Bye-bye.
will be- yes, bye-bye. The recording will be on the YouTube. We will send it out if you're registered. Thank you.
So good. I got to run to this meeting.